Billie Eilish. You know the name. It's become synonymous with a whole new kind of pop music. She's this global superstar who didn't just climb the charts. She basically tore up the rule book on what a pop star is even supposed to be. So, how did she become one of the most decorated and influential artists of her generation? Well, let's get into it. Okay, let's start with a number 2. That's how many Academy Awards Billie Eilish has won for Best Original Song. But what's truly mind-blowing here isn't the what, it's the when. At just 22 years old, she became the youngest person in history to win 2 Oscars. Now, to put that into perspective, the previous record holder was actress Louise Rayner, who won her second Oscar way back in 1938 at the age of 28. Billie didn't just break the record, she absolutely shattered one that had stood for almost 90 years. So you have to ask, right? How does this happen? How does a teenager making music in her bedroom become this cultural phenomenon who breaks records that have stood for decades? Well, it all starts not in some fancy high-tech recording studio, but in a place that's way more intimate. The entire foundation for her career was built right at home. So, Billie and her brother Finneas, they were actually homeschooled by their parents, who were both musicians and actors, and this kind of environment gave them the freedom to just explore their creativity with no limits. Billie wrote her first real song when she was only 11, and by 2015, she was officially making music with Finneas, who would become, her go-to producer and co-writer. But here's the thing, fame wasn't part of some big, grand plan. Actually, the song that launched her entire career was a complete and total accident. The story is it's almost unbelievable. Finneas wrote a song called Ocean Eyes for Billie to sing for a choreography project in her dance class. That's it. They uploaded it to SoundCloud just so her teacher could download it. But then, the internet did its thing. The song just exploded, getting hundreds of thousands of listens in a couple of weeks. And then, suddenly, the entire music industry was knocking at their door. And from that one accidental hit came an absolute explosion. Billie didn't just enter the pop world, she completely took it over. And she did it all on her own terms, with a sound that was just unlike anything else you were hearing in the mainstream. By 2019, she was a global force. Her debut album, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?, which was recorded in her childhood home, by the way, it debuted at #1 in both the US and the UK. It ended up being one of the best-selling albums of the entire year. And the album's monster single, Bad Guy, wasn't just a catchy song. It was historic. With that track, Billie became the very first artist born in the 2000s to top the Billboard Hot 100 chart. It was this global phenomenon, driven by that minimalist, bass-heavy beat and Billie's signature hushed, almost conspiratorial vocals. Her success really had a peak at the 2020 Grammy Awards in what I can only describe as a complete takeover. It all kicked off with the biggest prize of the night, Album of the Year for her debut. Then, her massive hit, Bad Guy, went on to pick up Record of the Year. And then, she and Finneas were recognized with Song of the Year for their incredible songwriting. And finally, to top it all off and complete the sweep of all 4 major categories, she was named Best New Artist. At just 18 years old, she became the youngest artist in history and only the second person ever to sweep all 4 of the major Grammy categories in a single night. A complete and total takeover. But it wasn't just her dark, introspective music. That blend of pop, trap, and industrial with those ASMR-like vocals that broke the mold. Her entire visual style was a complete rejection of typical pop star glamour. Her signature look became these baggy, oversized clothes that completely hid her silhouette. And this was a very, very intentional choice. In a 2019 Calvin Klein ad, she explained that her style was a way to control her own narrative, to shield herself from the constant scrutiny and body shaming that so many female artists have to face. So the really crucial point here is that her impact goes way beyond hit singles and fashion choices. She quickly started building a legacy of not just breaking records, but using her platform for real change. I mean, this timeline of her achievements is just staggering. After that landmark Grammy sweep in 2020, she won her first Oscar in 2022 for the James Bond theme, No Time to Die, and then she followed it up with her second Oscar in 2024 for What Was I Made For, from the Barbie movie. This level of critical acclaim is it's completely unprecedented for someone so young.
And that brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? A record-breaking artist who achieved something at 22 that nobody in history had done before her. It's a truly mind-boggling accomplishment.
And on top of all the awards, she has consistently used her massive platform to speak out. She's a vocal advocate for climate action, for women's rights, for animal rights, and she's actively encouraged her millions of young fans to get involved in the political process. Which really leaves us with one final fascinating question. She has already achieved a lifetime's worth of awards and accolades, she's defied every expectation, and she has completely rewritten the pop music playbook, all before her 23rd birthday. So what new rules will she write next?